fashion, music, wellness.
And don't forget sex.
Mostly sex.
If it's trending, they'll be talking about it. Trend Radio is right here.
And right now, I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we always have something great to say.
Because it's us. So stay tuned.
You'll be glad you did. Good morning, Elise.
Good morning.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Me too.
I just learned about a new kind of sex toy.
Oh, is that what the smile is about?
Yeah.
Well, do share.
Well, it's called the vaginal pressure inducer.
Really?
Oh, doesn't that sound sexy?
You know what's interesting? I understand what you're saying.
You
Pressure.
do.
A little pressure.
That's what it takes. Takes a lot of pressure doing this show.
Pressure.
Yes.
It's actually a lot of pressure sitting next to you right now. Yeah.
Well, you know.
I think he ate like Brussels sprouts.
I love Brussels sprouts.
I think you ate too many.
Okay, well, suffer. You know, vaginal pressure could be the future of orgasms.
You know, I have to tell you, I think I understand what you're saying. Do you remember we were talking about something we talk about orgasming
Talk
a
about
lot.
a lot of stuff.
But we were talking about orgasms a lot. And pressure seemed to be very, very important in hitting your orgasm at peak mode. So tell me about this toy.
Well, there's a new study that was published in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy.
Oh, okay.
And what it suggests is that applying pressure inside the vagina with this new tool can really heighten women's arousal.
Sounds magical.
Yeah. And this discovery happened by accident.
Oh, everything does. Everything good
Isn't that
happens by
something?
accident.
The
yeah.
telephone, penicillin,
Yeah,
all of that was
all
an
an
accident. Yeah. Getting this show, complete accident.
Well, I think it was an accident with a purpose.
Of course it was. Of course it was. Well, so these researchers were working on a study about pain and discomfort during sex. And they needed a tool to create pain so that they could analyze
made
it.
something to create pain.
Yes.
Wow.
Now,
and then
typically, the researchers just use balloons that are gradually inflated, but they slip out of the vagina midway through the experiment.
I can see where
most of
that
the
would,
time.
though.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bigger,
So they made something new.
right. So what they made was something called the vaginal pressure inducer. I have a picture of it. It's right here.
Oh, okay. Well, if anybody wants to see that vaginal pressure inducer, I guess they can Google it, or you can email us at trendradio920@gmail.com, and I'll send you a picture of it.
And what this is, it's a remote-controlled balloon that's filled with water at body temperature.
Oh, yeah. It would need to be body temperature so that you don't actually feel it.
Right. And it's secured to the body with a pair of specially designed pants.
Really?
Yeah, it's attached to the pants.
So
Didn't Howard Stern have a...
So you just put on these little pants and you have something inserted inside you. And
panty vibrator?
Ooh, yeah. Okay then. Yeah, pressure. Under pressure. Okay.
Don't they have some
David
kind of...
Bowie said it. Under pressure.
Under pressure. Under pressure.
The scientists tested the vaginal pressure inducer on over 50 healthy women who never experienced any sexual problems. And what they did is they asked them to watch several films, each film about 7 minutes long.
Okay.
And one of the films was neutral.
Okay, and that would just ease everyone in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was one showing some manual sex, then oral sex, and then penetrative sex, and then lastly showing one fully clothed people, two fully clothed people just making out.
Okay, were they also shown like some non-sexual films just to check,
Yeah, just to check that, it was their sexual rather than emotional arousal.
Okay. I imagine if the film was very sexy, this is probably why they're coming up with stuff. So if there was like sexy, then there would be more pressure.
Right. The sexier the film, the more pressure they could put up with before they press the button to end.
Oh, so they have to press the button to end the experiment? Oh, I get it.
Right. Otherwise, as they're watching the film, the balloon just keeps blowing up bigger and bigger and bigger.
So the sexier it was, the more pressure they would take.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So I guess during the non-sexual films, they would end the experiment the quickest and then press the button. It's like pressing the button.
That's right. Now, here's the interesting part. The women also reported significantly higher levels of arousal when they watched the film with the vaginal pressure inducer.
Because it's pumping up. Oh,
so they got more turned on.
The more they pump, the sexier it was, the more it pumped, and so the more they enjoyed it.
That's right.
Well, I have to tell you, I think that just may mean that vaginal pressure can heighten sexual arousal. And we've actually discussed that before.
We have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not permitted to say the segment that we were discussing about.
We can't talk about that.
We can't talk about that. Remember, we were told that.
Yes.
But that had a lot to do with vaginal pressure.
That's right. So, and, we're not saying that this is going to be like a popular sex toy, but
it's going to be a sex toy nevertheless, right?
That's right. And the International Business Times reported that women's descriptions of the experiment ranged from stimulating and interesting to not very pleasant, of course.
But doable?
Doable, yes.
Okay.
So at the moment, this device is better suited to research pain because it's not giving everybody pressure.
But I'm sure these researchers have plans to commercialize this tool, improve it, and probably because of the money, turn it into some kind of sex toy using their findings to bring everyone to new realms of pleasure.
That's right. Now, when we talk to women about having sex, it's typically, and the size of men, because the sizes vary.
So much.
Yes.
But women vary too.
Yes, they do. So, and it is not the length of the penis that stimulates them the most or gives them the most pleasure. It's the thickness or the width or the girth.
Yeah.
And that's what they say they find more pleasurable. And that's exactly what this experiment has done. It created a very variation on the thickness.
Yes, creating pressure inside.
That's right.
And that's, yeah.
Yeah. And, maybe we could also learn how women can have orgasms during penetrative sex, because there's...
Yeah, a lot of women don't. A lot of women don't have orgasms during intercourse. They just don't.
2/3 of them don't.
Yeah, they're just unable to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's got anything to do with that new research that suggests that women hit their sexual peak earlier than men.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, this is a totally new concept because...
I thought, okay, so they hit their sexual peak earlier than men, and then don't they also hit a peak later in life as well? They're more sexual later as well.
Well, the theory was that men reach their peak in their 20s, and that women hit their prime in their 30s.
Okay.
So this new research says, why have you been waiting for your 30s to hit? Fully expecting to turn into sexual goddesses with flowing hair and understanding how to reach orgasm in 5 minutes.
With flowing hair.
That's right. That's right. And it turns out that that's not true at all. So
yeah, I don't think that's true.
Don't wait around, for your 30s, because this new research from this sex toy retailer called Lovehoney. We've talked about Lovehoney a lot.
Oh, yeah, we have, yeah.
They found that the majority of women feel their desire for sex was highest between the ages of 18 and 24.
Really?
Now, I have my own thoughts on this, and I think it's because of the foods and the drinks that we eat that are loaded.
changing things.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of different things are loaded with hormones.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, it depends. It also
So
depends
these
on the
kids are eating these hormone-rich foods from.
You also understand that women and, well, I don't even want to say women, children, girls are getting their periods much younger.
11 years old. They're developing.
9.
Well, there you go.
10.
And they have C and D cup size by the time they're 12.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
We.
Not all of them, but a lot.
No, a lot. And I really think it's got to do
With what they're eating, what they ingest.
Eating.
Absolutely.
We ran into a young lady who came in, to the salon to get her hair done, and we did some color. And she looked absolutely beautiful. I thought she was 19 or 20. When she went up to pay, her dad came in. I thought she was 19 or 20. She was 12 years old.
Oh, my.
I couldn't believe it. The girl was just... She was a woman at 12.
So she looked like a woman.
She looked like a woman.
She was not a woman.
Yeah, she
so
looked like a woman.
I was at the pool. And, I was reading my book, but I was looking around and I saw a group of girls come in. And I could not believe they were all in tiny little bikinis. I thought they looked beautiful. They really did. They all had long flowing hair and banging bodies, absolutely crazy banging bodies in these tiny little bikinis. There were about 7 of them and they were laughing and, based on the fact that they were all together, I thought they were about 16 or 17. They looked like they were in their 20s. Do you know how old they all were?
I have no clue.
They were all 12 and 13 years old.
Isn't that amazing?
It was actually shocking.
It's the food.
I was actually scared when I saw them.
This was not around when we were kids. When we were kids, you looked like children.
Well, that's the thing.
They don't look like children today.
They don't. And they wear a lot of makeup too. Even at the pool, they all had their red little, lips and their pink little lips on, and they had their eyebrows done in their waterproof eyebrow stuff, and it was a little crazy to me. And I noticed, one of them, at this particular pool, you have to have a parent with you. So I noticed, in the corner was a mother. And she was just looking up every once in a while and looking at, her daughter and her daughter's friends. And it was shocking, though, to see how they looked at that age. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, getting back to the story, Lovehoney surveyed about 1,500 Australian men and women and found that 42% of the men said their libido was highest between the ages of 18 and 24. And what's interesting is 58% of the women said the same thing.
Interesting. And, I think a lot of that has to do with, they get together and they start having a family and life gets in the way. Mm-hmm. And so you don't, we talk about this also.
Yeah.
They're 24, 25, and they're done with college and they're moving on. They're getting married. And, then they buy houses and they have life. And, so it kind of changes things for them.
Life changes things. Yes, it does.
Yeah. And they have kids and, sexually speaking, they're tired.
Mm-hmm. Now, the survey suggested that men actually hit their peak in their late 20s and early 30s, while women hit theirs earlier, which is their late 20s.
Okay.
And 20% of the men said their libido peaked in their 30s versus 15% of the women.
That's a lot of good information right there.
Yes, it is. Now, it's pretty likely that a hazy memory could be coming into play, painting past sexual experiences with a flattering candlelit brush while more recent remains a little vivid and unimpressive.
Yeah, well, because that's what they're living in the moment.
Right.
And so when you think about something that happens in the past, typically, and sometimes, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but people do embellish to make things,
I do all the time.
I wasn't talking about you, Anthony. Not everything is about you, Anthony.
Yes, it is.
But a lot of times people will embellish to make themselves look better and feel better.
I do that all the time.
I know, Anthony. All right. You go on. Go on,
okay,
Anthony.
thank you. Thank you for letting me talk. Now, to get a real look at women and men's sexual peaks, we really need to be tracking their sex lives and their sexual satisfaction throughout their lives.
So basically, everybody, for the next study, keep a journal on your sex and love life.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Keep a journal, and this way you can be part of the study too.
That's right. I started one, I think a couple of years ago, and I think I got a page, almost a complete page. Now, Elise and listeners, you can have a great sex life
at any age.
Any age.
Any age.
And your joy in sex won't suddenly be switched off once you hit a certain birthday.
No, it really won't. You're not going to hit a birthday and then boom, everything is different. And desire for sex is a fiddly diddly thing that can be affected by everyone and everything.
Fiddly diddly?
Fiddly diddly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hormones and stress and dissatisfaction with a partner happens all the time.
Does it happen with co-hosts also? Dissatisfaction with your co-host?
It actually can. Yes.
Certain days are worse than others, huh?
Certain days are. Yes.
Ow!
Oh my God!
Stop that! You got me right in the throat. Oh my
handle
God!
it.
She smashed my Adam's apple. Oh, good
My
God!
God.
She's
tell you,
awful.
I almost choked. I was drinking.
I almost choked.
I was drinking when he
When
hit
she
himself.
backhanded me like that.
He hit him. Oh my God! Stop hitting yourself. Self-abuse.
The more sex you have, the more you will want. The more you hit somebody, the more you want to hit them.
Actually, I don't ever hit them, but I really want to.
Anyway, the better the sex is, the more you will enjoy it. And don't worry.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the more chemistry you have with your partner, boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry about the arbitrary guidelines for when your sex life should be at its best. If you are enjoying yourself, terrific. If not, work on why. Work on why.
Try.
Work on why.
Absolutely. Taking a quick break. Trend Radio continues after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank Artis, a place to live and grow for seniors with cognitive disorders, where empowerment, pride, and fulfillment define memory care. We are Anthony, Vincent, and Elise, together, Trend Radio, where we talk about love, lust, romance, and sex.
Mostly sex.
So maybe if...
Hey, you know what? Maybe you need a shock. A shockwave sent to your brain.
That's right. If you're not having a good sex life, rather than that shockwave to your brain, why don't you put a shockwave right through your penis?
Ew.
That's
Poor
the
guys.
new treatment for erectile dysfunction.
Ow.
Yes. Sending shockwaves.
I was joking when I said that.
You can't joke on this show.
Oh, my
Because
gosh.
the craziest things are real.
So you seriously
Yes,
need a shockwave?
I don't need one. But sending shockwaves through your penis really doesn't sound like the most enjoyable
I don't
way
think
to spend
so.
your
That's the worst
afternoon.
kind of lightning ever.
I don't know, or maybe it does. I don't know what you're into, but hey, if it works, it works.
If it does, if it works, then I guess. But oh my gosh.
And according to a recent study, low-intensity shockwave treatments can significantly improve erectile dysfunction.
Very interesting. They're looking for absolutely anything with ED, huh?
Yes, they are. It is, I guess it's more prevalent than we realize.
How long has this therapy been around for?
Okay, it's been around for a year or so, and now there's been a clinical trial, which could indicate that it really...
It really does work?
It really does work, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. These low intensity treatments work on sending low acoustic sound waves through.
Acoustic?
They're acoustic, yes. So they bounce around inside your penis.
Yeah, nice.
And what it does is it encourages new blood vessels to form.
I can understand that. That actually makes a little bit of sense. And blood vessels, so much more important than anything else when it comes to erectile dysfunction. If you didn't know this, that's when men get aroused the penis needs to fill with blood.
So the more blood vessels you have, the
more blood flowing to that hard to get place. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And the same low intensity shock wave treatment, it's already used to treat gallstones, kidney stones, and joint inflammation.
Wow. So now they're using it to fix penis related issues.
That's
Very
right.
nice.
That's right. Now, what it does, it involves putting a probe on the penis.
I don't think this is good.
And sends waves through that area.
They don't have to go inside, right?
No, they just put it. It's almost like, did you ever have one of those 9-volt square batteries and you just put your tongue on it and you...
No! Who would do that?
That's how you test to see if the battery is still good. Get yourself a 9-volt battery.
I don't have any problems with this. I don't need to test batteries.
And you put your tongue, and that's kind of the sensation it is. And it lasts for about 20 minutes, and it's not painful. It's just a little bit hot and a lot tingly.
I would imagine it's tingly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now,
he got very excited when he said that. I'm thinking that he likes this.
Now,
you like the tingles, don't you?
I don't know why you're making such a big deal. I remember when you put that Vasogel on your nipples and stuck the battery on there.
It was deranged.
You don't remember. This was years ago. You had inverted nipples, and they wouldn't pop out. So what you did is you got
I don't know how he knows.
You got that gel.
Imagine this.
Well, we talk about all this kind of stuff.
I don't remember having
this. You put the 9-volt battery on the gel, and it was all around your areola. And that low intensity...
Oh, my God. He kills
it actually,
me.
In fact, if read your journal... At every treatment, your nipple came out just a little bit, and then it went back in.
Oh, my God.
And, it took a couple of weeks for your nipples to finally be fully exposed. Now, I don't know if they've ever gone back in again, because I haven't seen your journal. Do you keep your journal with you?
Yes, I do.
Alrighty.
Yeah, of course.
After the show, we'll talk about it. We'll talk
Absolutely.
About it.
We want to talk about it.
Okay. So did they go back in, or are they still out?
Oh my gosh. I cannot even believe that you're lying like this, embellishing on anything. Oh my God.
No. I was going to make up a story about when they finally were out, you put the string around it so they wouldn't go back in, and you kind of pinned it to your sweater. She had one end tied around the base of her nipple, and then with a string, and I don't know if it was fishing line or thread.
You can't make this stuff up.
You can't make this up. I read it in her journal. And the other, she went through the safety pin and pinned it to her sweater. So that way they wouldn't go back in.
I understand she put the string on there so she wouldn't forget they were there. A cute little bow.
Thank you. No problem.
Drag me into it and look what happened.
Look what happened.
So, research... Getting seriously now, Elise. Mm-hmm. You two go off, center all the time. And
we're just following him.
Research from the Center of Sexual and Reproductive Health at the Aristotle University in Greece suggests that the treatment could actually work.
Wow.
Researchers analyzed over 50 patients with erectile dysfunction, giving 30 of them a shock treatment and 16% a placebo treatment.
Oh.
I don't know how you shockwave a placebo.
Well, no. I mean, they would just, I guess, pretend and it's not as strong.
Okay.
So let me just ask you, what was the result?
Okay. Well, what they did is they did this throughout the year. And compared to the placebo, low-intensity shockwave therapy had significantly beneficial effect on erectile dysfunction.
But what about the placebo? Did they have any kind of...
No.
So it wasn't basically all in their head? No pun intended?
No, it wasn't in their head.
Okay.
So it really lasted for like 12 months.
Wow.
So I guess every 3 or 4 months you can go in and have your treatment.
You know what's nice about that? So some men I mean, some men got nothing out of it, but some got something out of it.
That's
so
right.
a little something, something is better than nothing, nothing, huh?
So the researchers concluded that there is a beneficial effect of low-intensity shockwave treatment
That's
for
awesome.
remedying the erectile dysfunction.
Well, how about that, guys?
That's right.
You know, that's fantastic.
So treatment doesn't really have to be popping pills before you...
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. Good for them.
There is a little bad news attached to this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The treatment is not covered with insurance.
Oh, really?
And if you want to try it, it's going to cost you about $3,000.
So I think that's terrible.
Yeah.
Do you know why I think that's terrible?
Guys, just call Elise. She knows how to work
my
the
gosh.
square battery treatment on you.
Oh my God. Do you know why this is so awful though? Because again, we were talking about how sexual intimacy and sexual relationships are key in your relationships and in feeling good and keeping your own well-being. So you can go see a doctor and get Viagra and your insurance company will pay for that.
Yeah, but they won't...
But they won't pay for something that's going to actually work and not put a chemical in your body.
You got a point there.
You know? I
Well,
think
you
that's
know
crazy.
what? The FDA is all about money. So they don't want something that's going to work. Their job is to keep the pharma companies in business making millions of dollars.
It's so interesting.
So they want you to use the
I just
drugs.
want to say something that we were actually at a doctor when Mara was having these headaches that she was having. And the doctor didn't want her. She was talking about, Mara was talking about the possibility of maybe medical marijuana as opposed to the crazy hospital stays and almost violent medication that they were recommending. And the doctor said, I do not want to put any harsh chemicals into your body. And Mara looked right at her and said, through her headache pain, but you are. Everything that you're recommending is a harsh chemical. You know, the medical marijuana, if I was able to actually have that, that's not a chemical. And she looked at her and shook her head, and Mara smiled at her and said, welcome to Pharma America.
Really?
That's what Mara said to her.
That's amazing.
Welcome to Pharma America.
Well, if you're joining us just now, we are Trend Radio, and we talk about love, lust, romance, and sex.
Mostly sex, but we also have some fabulous information for you about everything.
We're going to take a quick break, and Trend Radio continues right after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank Artis, 60 years experience in the field of senior living care, focusing on helping each resident find meaning and joy every day with dignity.
Elise, did you know that 40% of women worldwide, complain about issues with sexual functioning? This is according to a study that these women struggle with low sexual desire and
Were
they
you
have,
asking me a question?
and they have an
You just
inability
asked me a question
to
and
achieve orgasm.
And then talked over me.
If the shoe fits, wear it. I didn't realize you have trouble with
You said, Elise, did you know?
about sexual
And then you kept going.
desire malfunction. This is according to the Journal of the American Medical Association. And that's back in February of 1999.
I actually did know that a lot of women do complain about that, only because I sit across from so many of them.
None of the women that I know ever complained about it.
Oh, they have. Just not to you.
Well, it appears as though this issue is a little more common than you'd think. And there is no quick fix to sexual issues.
No, and that's because sometimes, honestly, it's not necessarily the sex. It
That's
goes
right.
deeper than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you just might not want to be with your partner or co-host anymore.
Where would you go? Who would you talk with? Who would give me all the trouble that you do?
Sometimes there are a lot of issues that just go deeper and beyond
That's right.
what's on the surface.
That's right. And they could be depression, anxiety, conflict with the relationship.
Yes. those things. All of those
Fatigue,
things.
stress, lack of, private prior experiences.
What do you mean?
Well, you have a private experience that you don't tell, and this may
Oh, and
affect
so it starts
you.
coming up.
Yes.
And it becomes an issue. And that goes into your mental state and your
That's
emotional
right.
state. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the medications you may take.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of people that are on medications for different reasons.
Yeah, and I think I met every one of them.
No. There could be, an old illness that you're still taking medication for, or, for instance, I take something every single day, and it's a hormonal.
Quaaludes?
It's a hormonal medication because of the breast cancer, and it's not something that I cannot take, and it causes this particular medication can cause so many different issues.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, hormonally, anxiety. I mean, there's so many things that it has a side effect for. So it affects a lot of women, because there are a lot of women out there that, had just this one particular thing. And there are a lot of women that are actually on that medication, and that can create so many things. So I can certainly understand that. Menopause creates all kinds of things.
Oh, that's right.
After childbirth, so many issues. And so there are just so many reasons why sexual dysfunction could happen in a female and a male.
That's right. And, you mentioned childbirth, and, most of the time, the stress of a growing family and the fatigue associated with carrying a baby.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Children, I mean, you literally, and most families these days need 2 incomes, most.
Yeah.
And so, you're a mother, a new mother, you're working, you are trying to keep your house tidy, you are trying to keep your life in order, you're trying to keep your bank account in order. By the end of the day, if you really think that you really are in the mood to have anything happen, and another thing, people don't realize this, you don't feel sexy. You feel bloated, you feel uncomfortable, you just had a baby, you're tired, your hormones are, going a mile stretch every single day. There's so many reasons. And so
Did you mention decreased libido because of the menopause? Did you mention that one?
I did say menopause, yeah.
Yeah. And that's more associated with the vaginal dryness and painful intercourse.
Well, that happens during menopause for some women. Not all, but some.
Right. It's because of decreased estrogen
level, yeah.
A common diseases that have been linked to sexual dysfunction in women are blood pressure, diabetes, and you said cancer treatments, the depression and anxiety. And, this is, both sides, the effects of the medication used to treat these issues really are.
I didn't want to step on you, so I wasn't saying anything.
Okay, thank you. Then I'll just continue. What happens is sometimes we no longer exercise. I know young girls are, really into the gym.
I'm the worst with that. Sometimes, I'm going. And then, 3 weeks will go by and I didn't go.
And you're just sitting in the chair eating bonbons.
Not bonbons.
No, it's strawberries and yogurts and apples. I'm looking at everything across this board over here.
Yeah.
I can't even see the, the controls over here with all of this food.
Well, there are beautiful red strawberries, and there is gorgeous romaine lettuce with cucumbers and Roma tomatoes and a little dressing.
There's an apple and banana cream pie. There's
there are broiled scallops.
Cookies.
And there's no cookies.
There's cookies. They're right there, right in that bag. I saw them.
There's nothing in that bag.
And a diet soda. What's that?
I have no idea. I guess the last person here, I don't drink that. This is Juicy Peach sparkling water. Mm-hmm. It is. That's what it is.
Yeah, diet soda.
It's not diet soda. There's nothing in it.
Sugar-free.
There's no sugar or no sugar substitute. It's 100% natural.
Mm-hmm. Natural. We know that natural is a bogus term.
You're bogus.
But getting back to your exercise regime.
My personal one.
Yes. The muscle stimulation or lack of really dramatically increases or decreases blood flow to the pelvic floor. stimulating the glands that secrete the lubrication. And a fit pelvic floor results in more pleasurable sexual experience with your partner.
That is absolutely the truth. That is 100% true. Just unfortunately, a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of men, they just don't exercise enough. And that's true. I'm one of them.
Well,
Not everybody can be like you, Anthony, and go to the gym every single day for hours and hours and hours and look exactly so fit and muscular like you do.
Well, I do look pretty good.
Yeah.
But, these lifestyle changes that one could make, not only do they help with a pleasurable sexual experience, but these lifestyle changes also decrease the stress and the fatigue. And that can be very useful. The exercise is very rewarding for overall health. And,
it is.
Yeah, decreasing the fatigue.
I agree.
And improving
I
body
100%
image.
agree.
Yeah.
I just don't do it enough.
So you agree I look pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, and I also agree that it would help me and probably so many other people if they would just get on, a regime. I know a lot of people want to go, they want to walk, they want to exercise. And unfortunately can't because they might have a side effect from their medication, creating, muscle cramping or balance issues. That happens with a lot of the medications that people take. And so, while it can be an excuse, and I understand that because I'm the queen of that, I know that I do understand your dilemma with that.
Talking about just walking, there was a woman on TV just a week or so ago that lost 90 pounds just from walking.
Didn't she change her diet?
She didn't say anything about changing her diet. I'm sure she didn't eat the banana cream pies. But she changed her whole attitude with walking, and again lost 90 pounds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't eat banana cream pie either.
Okay. What type of pie do you eat?
I don't eat pie.
Okay. Whatever you say. Well, getting back to sexual dysfunction, it can be caused by relationship issues, but it can also be the cause of relationship issues. So don't ignore it.
That is the truth. And the reason it could be a cause is because, did you have something else that you wanted to say?
No, not at all.
Okay. The reason it could be a cause is because
I was just going to say that communication with your partner is very important to the process of improving your libido.
Oh, cool.
You know what's really interesting, even about low libido?
What?
Most women don't want to have sex for much more than 15 minutes anyway.
Huh?
Yeah.
I guess they're not having sex with the right person.
No. A lot of sex myths,
I
have
guess it
been allowed
depends.
to live on.
Wait a second. There's quickies and then there's longies.
Mm-hmm. And what did Vladimir say?
Never a quickie with you, always a longie.
That's right. And, there's a misconception from men that women are impressed or pleased when the sex goes on and on and
you know what?
on.
It depends on. We've talked about this though.
We have?
Yes, we've talked about, straight intercourse. I mean, a sexual rendezvous, a sexual pleasurable afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is. Sometimes there's not time to go longer than 15 minutes. That's the truth. But sometimes there's, a few hours. And it doesn't have to be, you're not going to have intercourse for 3 hours. But there's other stuff to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's foreplay, there's romance, there's all kinds of things.
That's right. Now, I don't have any idea who made up the rules about sex and time.
Oh, it wasn't you?
No. But whoever it was, they did a poor job.
I don't think there should be any rules.
And I agree with you. There shouldn't be. One of the things, a misconception is that women are supposed to orgasm like instantly.
Never happened.
A couple of minutes and boom,
Nope.
And if you take much longer than that, you're failing. And this is probably
Is that
why
the guy failing? Is that what you're saying?
No. That's why some women feel compelled to fake their orgasm.
She's failing, or the man is failing, or whoever she's with is failing?
She thinks that she's failing because they're supposed to orgasm very, very quickly.
Okay, that's not true, though. We've
of course
discussed
not.
that. Honestly, before even, if you think about it, there was an actual study that said even, I mean, it was something about 4 to 5 minutes before she can even rev up. And then it goes into another, time period.
That's right.
Yeah.
But men, on the other hand, they're not allowed to orgasm quickly. They're supposed to have self-control, the stamina. They're supposed to keep going.
The expectation is that he will go not for 3 hours. I know some that have, but
Who?
I just know stories. But there are some men that do have fantastic stamina and great control.
That's right.
But
if
not
you're
everybody.
a real man, you'll be doing your partner all night long. I don't think so.
I don't know about all night long, but definitely, it could happen.
A friend once told me, he said, Anthony, what I used to do all night long takes me all night to do.
Hey.
And he said, now, I may be too old to cut the mustard, but I ain't too old to lick the jar.
Okay, then. And you were saying?
Well, I guess that's a guy joke.
Yeah, I got the jar. I got the jar joke. I just didn't care for the jar joke. There's a difference.
All right. If we're going to be really honest, Elise, it's really not what most women actually want.
What do you mean?
Well, when the sex goes on, forever, it starts to get uncomfortable, maybe even
monotonous?
sore.
Well, that's the intercourse. It could get, there could be soreness, there could be discomfort, there could be, but I would think that,
Well, you said it, a little boring after.
Well, if it's just one thing.
Yes. And, we talked about sex starts the minute you wake up.
It's between the
foreplay,
ears.
Actually, not sex.
It's
foreplay that starts.
It's between the ears.
That's right. There was a study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine, which really talked about how long sex should last from a female perspective.
Okay.
And the sex therapists found that intercourse which lasted 1 to 2 minutes was too short.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Definitely too short.
That's right. 3 to 7 minutes was adequate. And 7 to 13 minutes was desirable.
Really? And then what was when it got too long?
30 minutes was too long.
Okay.
So we're not sure what happens if you're having sex 10, 11, or 12 minutes. Is it too long or too short?
I guess it depends on who you're with and what you want to accomplish.
That's right.
And how much time you have or want.
And I guess the connection that you have with your partner.
Yeah.
So there was a very small survey of 125 people, and they were asked how long the actual innie-outie bit of sex should last.
Innie-outie bit?
What?
Like a belly button? An innie-outie?
The innie-outie part of sex, not the foreplay. That's another story.
Okay, so you're talking strictly intercourse.
Innie-outie.
Innie-outie, okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
So 40% of the people, which was the majority of the survey, said that it should last about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's the innie-outie, not the foreplay.
That's strictly, I have to clarify this because innie-outie is too belly button-y. Okay. So it's strictly intercourse.
40% said that it should last
5 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, 30% of the people wanted it to last 10 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's the intercourse. Only 10% wanted 20 to 30 minutes, and the other 10% wanted more than a half an hour of actual penetration.
Oh.
So,
okay.
What does this mean?
I don't know. What do you think this means?
Well, I don't know. If my math is right or close, 80% of the people wanted to have sex for less than 20 minutes.
Okay.
Now, if I knew this in my younger days, I could have accomplished so much more.
But the interesting part about that is when typically, and I'm saying this, anybody that I've heard from, typically there's more to sex than just intercourse.
Of course there is. The sex is, as we talked about, from the minute that you wake up, and it's the foreplay. It's telling a person that you love them. It's actually talking maybe the 5 languages of love, which we spoke about last week.
Yes.
And if you haven't heard that segment, you really need to go on demand and listen to last week's show about the 5 languages of love.
Just go to trendradio920@gmail.com. You can email us, or you can go to our website. What is it? Yeah, 920thejersey.com. No, it's our website. Yes. Hello. 920thejersey.com. Click on demand and go directly to us, Trend Radio, and listen. Yeah, to last week's show.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is. Taking a quick break. Trend Radio continues after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank Artis, where senior residents are encouraged to do what helps them feel fulfilled and content, offering spacious living areas designed for social and emotional connections, with safety always at the forefront. So with all of this quick sex, I came across
quick sex.
Any sex is good sex, whether it's a
fast or not fast.
That's right.
Yes, we talked about that. Mm-hmm.
But I came across something that I found very, very interesting.
Tell me.
Vaginal steaming.
We've actually discussed vaginal steaming years ago.
Yes.
And now it's really becoming popular.
It is.
Yes, I think it's so bizarre.
It's also known as yoni steaming.
Yes.
Now, yoni steaming is an old health practice where a woman sits over a steaming water pot containing herbs like rosemary and basil.
And then you can have salad.
That's right.
Salad water.
And this really has been practiced in Africa, Mozambique, in Asia, Indonesia, Thailand, and South America. And recently...
Recently, it's come to the Western world.
Yes, it has.
Thank you.
Easy for you to say. Mm-hmm. This is really an alternate health practice for women in out here in the West, and it's described as an ancient Korean treatment for reproductive organ ailments, and it's claimed to have other benefits.
It's interesting because I actually know one person, only one, who's done it.
Really?
And the reason she did it, the only reason she did it, she said that she heard that it would help with tightening. And I said, you didn't think maybe you'd do a couple of Kegel exercises, and keep yourself tight that way? She said she heard that it would help to keep her tight. And
she's absolutely right.
Yeah. I don't know how long that would last, though, because, a muscle would go back and forth. I think you'd have to have it done. You'd have to keep doing it. But I don't know. For sure that it works for tightening. I'm sure that you haven't had it done, and I'm pretty sure that you don't have a vagina. So I can't imagine that for sure.
You got a point there.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I've read and what some of these cultures believe in is that it helps to clean the female body. Mm-hmm. They claim that it improves fertility and sexual pleasure.
Wow.
And it aids in childbearing.
It aids in childbearing?
Yes. Now, I don't know.
See, she had this done after she had her child.
Yes.
Because she said that, she needed that.
Well, okay. According to a study on vaginal practices by the World Health Organization published in 2011, one of the ways in which women practice vaginal care is by vaginal steaming.
Wow.
Now, and of course, as I said earlier,
How hot does the steam get?
It's got to be 220 degrees. Because water...
He said that so seriously.
Water boils at 220 degrees and creates a steam. So that steam...
I have to say that I yuck, ow, pain. That's hot.
Yeah. So what these women do is they sit above a source of heat, which could be fire, coals, hot rocks, and which are on water. And the herbs and the oils are placed in that water to create a steam or a smoke. And for that study, over 4,000 women in Mozambique and KwaZulu-Natal, which is in South Africa, Indonesia and Thailand were all asked about their vaginal care.
And they all gave this, fabulous reviews.
They all had different things to say about it when it came to vaginal steaming. So they were all had very, very different results and very different reasons were given. For instance, in Thailand, 60% of the women reported having performed vaginal steaming, which they associate with maintaining wellness and a feminine identity, especially
identity.
Yes, especially after having given birth.
I find that amazing. A feminine identity.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay. In Mozambique, only 10% of the women practiced steaming, which was mostly intended to enhance male sexual pleasure by causing vaginal tightening.
And that's what my client, that's what she said.
Yes.
That was it wasn't necessarily for male sexual pleasure, mind you. It was for vaginal tightening. Mm-hmm. And that was to enhance her own sexual pleasure.
Well, there you go.
Okay, it wasn't for anybody else, which I admired that.
That's right. In South Africa, 40% of the women said they practice it to enhance male sexual pleasure.
Maybe some of you men out there should just, travel. Because, these women are really all about that. That's amazing.
In Indonesia, nobody gave that answer.
Okay. But the feminine identity answer is an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know what feminine identity means. Maybe it's
well, it's your own identity. It's your own being. It's your own feeling of who you are and your femininity. But that should come from within, and you have that anyway. If you that's your own identity.
Yep.
I don't know what vaginal steaming would have to do with that.
I think it maintains a moisture. It keeps, I think these...
Well, I can't imagine that it would last for too long, but I have to say it must be an amazing experience.
We're going to have to do a little research and see if it's done around here.
I know that there is somebody that does it because one of my clients had it done.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going to find out some information.
Do you think we should offer that at the salon?
Quite a service that would be.
That certainly would be.
Yeah.
So
we'd be swimming in rosemary.
Boy, do I have a story for you.
Tell me.
So this pregnant wife shoves chili peppers into her husband's mistress's vagina.
What?
Yes. This angry...
Now, how on earth... Wait a second. Do you just say... Listen.
I just said that.
Listen. Pregnant woman who, is married, pregnant woman, shoves chili peppers into her husband's...
Hot chili peppers.
Into her husband's... Mistress's vagina.
Yes.
So how did she get to her husband's mistress?
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Because and then how'd she get to her vagina?
I'm going to tell you.
Ay.
This angry present wife.
Pregnant.
She, I can't even believe this.
Oh my God.
She attacked her cheating husband's mistress
with a chili pepper.
By forcing these red hot chili peppers right into her vagina. She was Vietnamese.
So she took down the woman while she's pregnant.
Lai Chanel, 23, she noticed that her husband had begun disappearing for hours at a time.
Oh my gosh.
And they'd only been married 7 months.
And so she was pregnant.
And she was already bearing his first child.
Sure.
So earlier that week, she followed Chen Kiao, who's 24.
Her husband?
No, that's the other girl.
She knew. She followed the woman. She knew.
I'm sorry, you're right. She followed her husband.
Okay, yeah. So she follows her husband
to what turned out to be a motel rendezvous. That's right, in this province of Vietnam.
Oh my gosh.
Now, she's 3 months pregnant. Lai interrupted the pair and stuffed these chili peppers into the mistress's vagina while her 3 female friends held her down at the motel.
Okay. Now I understand. And where was her husband?
Well,
He watched?
what was he going to do? He was outnumbered.
He watched his pregnant wife and her 3 friends
He was mortified.
hold this girl down.
Listen, you don't want to mess with a Vietnamese girl.
Let me just tell you something. That little mistress was in a lot of pain, I'm sure.
Well, you know, what happened is they took pictures of the incident and she
Holy
put them on
crap.
the internet, and it shocked the readers across Asia. And her message by doing this really backfired on her.
Yeah, I'm sure she got in trouble for it.
Yes. Her followers were furious. They wanted to know why she punished the mistress so severely, but ignored her cheating husband.
Exactly.
Yeah. They accused Lai of being cruel.
That was cruel.
Yeah. So she responded before shutting down her Facebook page, and she said, "How can he care for us if he cheats with another girl?"
Well, then why is it that he didn't have chili peppers inserted inside him?
I don't know. Maybe his
I'm just saying.
urethra wasn't that wide.
I'm just saying. There are other places.
Well, she said that a woman who destroys the family deserve this, and women can forgive easily, but they can never forget. Jealousy is painful, and she knows this.
Well, I think that her husband should be her ex-husband.
Well, there are people who hate her, but life is like that. She says she can't please everybody.
Yeah, but obviously there was a problem with her mindset there.
That's right. You know, we when I say we, I mean me. I used to watch this silly show called Cheaters on TV. And the guys always wanted to beat up the guy who was cheating with their girlfriend. Guy had nothing to do with it.
Not about that.
I'm not saying beat up the girl, but she's the one responsible, not the guy.
As was he.
You've been listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot in chili peppers every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You want more? Go right to our website, 920thejersey.com, click on demand, and scroll directly to us.
And get the lowdown on getting down. Tune into your bad boy inside you.
Or your bad girl.
Listen each week. We always have something sexy to say. Got questions? Email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. You'll be glad you did.
And remember, your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card.
But how you make people feel, well, that becomes your trademark.
I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye for now.
You are my sunshine, my